Sony has announced their plans for E3 2018 and it's a little different than you might expect from the previous years, and that shows something interesting to me. So I want to get into it in this video, everything you need to know. If you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go! So during a new PlayStation blogcast, the chairman of Sony Worldwide Studios, Sean Layden, joined to talk about E3 2018. I put a link, by the way, to the podcast in the description down below. But what he basically said is that while it will be on the standard Monday of E3, so on June 11th, 6 PM local LA time, it's going to be a little different in terms of how the show is compared to previous years. So I want to share everything you need to know about what Sony will do at E3 first, and then share my take, because this totally shows something very interesting. So what they will do at E3 2018, and I quote, exclusive looks and deep dives on 4 upcoming titles, 4 big titles from Worldwide Studios, so 4 big PS4 exclusives. Those games are Death Stranding. Sean notes that they will share what is going on with the game, an update on the development, no mention of gameplay, but you would think that will happen, right? The second game is Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch, also a deep dive. What has the studio been working on? I would imagine with gameplay as well. You will not be disappointed, as Sean Layden said. Marvel Spider-Man will swing by as well with a new drop at E3. Here Sean says that you will be blown away. So probably a new awesome set piece from the game. Really looking forward to it, so bring it on. Last but not least is The Last of Us Part 2. We will get a new scope and treatment to give people a better understanding of where they are going with Part 2, according to Sean Layden. We already know that gameplay will be present as confirmed at PlayStation Experience in 2017. But like I said, I think this will be the case for Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding as well. Both games have been in development for a while, so I think gameplay is not that weird. So yeah, 4 big games they will focus on. Sean talks about a different angle, and that is of course totally the case here. And what I get out of it is that instead of showing a ton of exclusive games with short trailers and gameplay footage, they instead are going to spend, let's say, 15 minutes per game and go over the development, talk about the story of the game accompanied with some footage and probably an E3 trailer at the end. That is at least my read on it. Good to note is that this will not be all. They will have announcements from third-party publishers and independent studios as well. Think an Activision with Black Ops 4 and the new Destiny DLC that is set to launch in the fall. Capcom will probably come by with one of their new games. Rocksteady might show their new project, and also independent studios from Software with Shadows Die Twice. I can totally see that being revealed at E3 at the Sony stage. And Ready at Dawn, of course known for the Order 1886, is also working on a third-person action game, so maybe they show that here as well. Indie games will also get a spot during some sort of highlight, they call it, so totally expect some indie games at the Sony E3 show as well. Now some people are speculating that this will be a digital-only event, but that has not been said directly, only that you can view it live via Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, etc. And maybe at the time you watch this, it's already confirmed that it will indeed be a show with people in the crowd, and I totally think that that will be the case, since you have, for example, Kojima on the stage, and that will be one of those moments that will work way better if you have people clapping than if you're just like talking into a camera. Some small takeaways before I want to do my big one, and that is that there was no mention of PlayStation VR from Sean Layden during that blogcast. While making this video though, they did mention PlayStation VR in combination with indie games. So that's probably what we will see in terms of VR software. Another thing that is worth pointing out are missing games like Days Gone and Dreams, 2 other big Sony titles you would think that do not get the spotlight at E3 it seems. I mean, we got the Game Informer coverage right now for Days Gone, but it was not mentioned during their E3 talk at all, so maybe it will simply not be there at E3. And also Dreams from Media Molecule could really use a push, but it will probably not get that at E3. The most interesting takeaway though is that the PlayStation 4 life cycle is coming to a close, that these 4 big titles will be the last big first party games to release on the PlayStation 4 before the new PlayStation 5 hits. Because what Sony basically says is that they will not announce any new games from their first party studios at this year's E3, and this was basically the last time they could do that because the PlayStation 5 is either coming next year or in 2020. And if they got a new PlayStation 4 title in the works, they would probably have announced it at this year's E3, right? Yet they don't do anything. And with the 4 big games likely being titles for a 2019 release, apart from Spider-Man of course that will hit on September 7th in 2018, makes me really think that the PlayStation 5 is sooner than we might think, and that we will see it at least announced next year with maybe a fall 2019 or an early 2020 release like the Nintendo Switch that really of course worked out for them. Because a new PlayStation 5 after all these 2019 games have been released makes total sense. Otherwise you still want to have some stuff in 2020 as well. So very interesting stuff for sure. I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I will be going to E3 bringing you a ton of the good stuff, so totally subscribe for everything regarding the awesome upcoming PlayStation games and for example for all the God of War goodness going on right now. Totally check out my PlayStation E3 2018 predictions video going in depth on everything we will likely see at the Sony show, because yes, Sony takes a different route now, but I still make a ton of interesting points in that video of things that will likely be shown during the show. Drop a like to support the channel, I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.